Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year. It is Twisted and the Twilight Day for us pleb content creators that didn't get early access, and I've been playing a ton of games with the Clan Moulder faction and with Throt the Unclean already. Haven't concentrated too much on the Wood Elves yet, but I'm going to get into that over the next few days as well. And thought I'd bring you this one because this was just an epic Skaven versus High Elves game that I've played already in the matchup with already in the DLC, which was a really fun one. So we'll go through the armies quickly. My opponent's brought Rangers, obviously front line of Rangers, 5 Rangers, great unit against Skaven, cut through Skaven infantry for days. He's brought a couple of chariots, so two Tyrannoc chariots here. He has also got some silver helms on one flank, some dragon princes on the other, some regular archers just in the back. Pretty good in this matchup. The Skaven monsters, in particular Rat Ogres and Hell Pits, don't have great armor, so they can punch above their weight in this matchup. 2 Flamespire Phoenixes, which again are a pretty good unit in this matchup, because some of the big threats, Hell Pits, Throt actually as well, are weak to fire. So the fire damage, the mobility, the bombs, pretty solid unit, to be honest. And obviously with their healing proc, they can outlive what you'd expect from them. You also have Alariel the Radiant on her horsey. She has taken Far's Protection as well as Earthblood, and obviously taken the Star of Avalon as well for the area of effect heals. Pretty powerful combo with the Phoenixes and the Chariots. So for my forces, front line of Skaven Slaves, 5 Skaven Slaves, 2 with spears. We've brought 2 units of Clan Rats with shields, and the Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers. Had a bit of extra money at the end, so upgraded a regular unit of Clan Rats to them. Gonna have to make sure not to bother putting them anywhere near the Phoenixes or those Dragon Princes with the fire resist. We have 2 units of Wolf Rats with poison in the back, 3 units of Rat Ogres, so I've tried to pretty much stay in the Clan Moulder theme here, and a little sort of goon squad of single entities here. Accompanying my infantry, we have a Plague Priest with Pestilent Breath and Pestilent Birth, just for some summons. We have Morskatar's Hellion, which has a pretty cool area of effect sort of attack when it hits. Does some minor magical damage in a little area of effect. Also has great melee attack and weapon strength. A lot of which is obviously armor piercing as well, so good in one-on-one fights against other single entities and high value targets. Gorich, who is a hero unit, is hero Khorne worshipper of mutant Rat Ogre, so he's got his evisceration stationary effect as well as the warp frenzy for his personal stat buffs. And we have Throt the Unclean up here on his Brood Horror. Really cool model. Love what CA has done with this. So he has taken his Things Catcher, which is great, imbues more anti-large and immune psychology in an area of effect. A Beast Pack, so he has a single summon, good for pinning in high mass targets if he can surround them with the Rat Ogre summon. And he also has the Remolded, which allows himself to actually either heal one of his other single entities or heal himself. So this is a pretty long battle, so we might do a bit of fast playing throughout. So as you see here, the mobile advantage does lie with my opponent, and he's spreading out pretty nicely here, coming in with his chariots. I'm trying to get just the mass of the Rat Ogres in here just to protect against too much damage, but these are just Skaven Slaves at the end of the day. Trying to sort of just not commit too heavily here, because I do see obviously chariots and the Flamespire on this end. But the infantry fight's not going to go well for me. Honestly, I'm gonna have to support my Rat Ogres and things like that against the Rangers to wear them down. And these archers are actually going to be pretty annoying. So we'll see as the battle sort of gets underway how we can sort of attack this. So again, I'm trying to get Throt the Unclean just to work down these Tyrannic Chariots. I do overextend here, unfortunately, with my Rat Ogres. I thought these guys were coming in. I was prepared to take the charge on the Skaven Slaves and get a counter charge, but I've actually sort of isolated myself a little bit. We are doing a lot of damage to these Rangers, but these Silver Helms are bearing down on me. Although we do have a pretty pretty large contingent of our force here. So Morskatar's Hellion, Gorich, and Throt the Unclean all fighting in here. We're getting some good damage on the Flamespire Phoenix. May come at the cost of one of my unit of Rat Ogres though. So again, my Plague Priest here is going to try and summon a unit of... I kept losing the order for some reason. I had to do it about 3 times before it actually took hold. But we are going to summon a unit of Plague Monks here to try and push through and get the archers back. And we are going to actually push through this front line here. We have managed to rout off one of the units of Rangers and get on this unit of archers here to try and work them down. Like I said, I mean, my infantry is scattering to the wind. I'm trying to sort of not get too spread out, and going to have to try and use the poison where I can to get good pins in place. Good response here by my opponent, bringing the Dragon Princes in. They've also got... I'm not sure if that was intended by my opponent. They probably don't need the fast protection, but I am getting a bit of a resurgence. So we are going to be able to sort of maybe just plug the line where we can with our returning infantry and our Rat Ogres. And I'm getting the Rat Ogres in here as much as anything just to impart the poison on the chariots, because I have Throt the Unclean, I have Gorich, I have some good gooning potential here to try and work the chariots down. But my opponent is getting a nice upgraded Earthblood effect here, which is, I think, hit three different units and has probably going to get those chariots back up to full. So the Dragon Princes, they've pulled away from these Plague Monks who are starting to degen. Unfortunately, haven't really been able to get onto the onto the archers here. But again, I'm just staying nice and tight with all my sort of big nasties here, and I've pushed through. Obviously, this is good. This is pretty decent for me. Good value here. Just get these guys running, get them out of the fight, and tie them up. Archers might actually... Oh no, they're pretty beaten up, so they will lose to those Skaven Slaves eventually. And we've got our 2 units of Rat Ogres, so 9 here, 10 here. They're pretty beaten up, but probably a bit of a misplay here using this Rat Ogre. I wanted to try and use it against the Dragon Princes to pin them in, but we'll see later on in the battle. There's probably better opportunities. I could have held them in the back pocket a little bit longer, and they could have been a bit more effective. So again, the Dragon Prince is responding to the threat against the archers, and I am gonna... it does drag a few of these units away, which did have attack orders. I do leave Throt over here, which is probably a mistake. Again, I want to keep these guys together. This is just slaves. It's not really that important. I don't need to relieve them. And now my opponent is getting some good alpha striking here, just on units on the periphery. So Skaven Slaves are going to terrify. Again, these Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers are going to be pretty ineffective at dealing with Phoenixes, obviously, with their massive fire resistance. And we see just some really nice damage here. Rat Ogres with 30 armor are going to be very susceptible to these kinds of infantry units, but we may be able to actually get some good damage there and get them off, particularly with these wolf rats coming in. So Throt has, not Throt, rather, Throt's still making his way. Oh no, Throt's in there. So we've got some potential here to use the Things Catcher if the Phoenixes come down, but I'm gonna hold it in the pocket just for now to see if I can try and wait until he commits with his Flamespire Phoenix. But this is good by my opponent, relieving the archers once again, staying together with a lot of these, with the chariots, with the Flamespire Phoenixes on the Rat Ogres to just terrify them off. They're actually naturally routed now, so they're probably going to get chased off the battlefield. Again, with this one, if they're not supported, Rat Ogres don't have great leadership, so a bit of a lesson for me there to not sort of try and get too greedy. So the forces are sort of just going to realign here. I'm getting whatever scraps I can. I do have a few units of infantry here, and I do have some wolf rats with poison, which are going to come and escort these silver helms off the battlefield, get value wherever I can, make sure they don't come back, get any rear charges. So at this stage, one thing that is going for me is, and my opponent could probably say this as well, although my opponent probably has more supporting units. Throt the Unclean's healthy. Morskatar's Hellion is sort of a bit beaten up, but I do have a Remolded in the back pocket here, which I will be using on that soon. We still have some potential for some maybe Pestilent Breaths if I can get him to bunch up, but my opponent is getting good value here from his Overcasted Earthbloods, affecting a lot of units, a lot of high value units as well. Again, I see I see this unit of archers. I think I can maybe get on it nice and quickly, and unfortunately what happens is my infantry, my supporting infantry gets left behind. So my in my eagerness to try and sort of try and get some free picks where I can, I've probably cost myself a little bit. Nice Pestilent Breath going down. That's probably, I think, the last cast I'm going to get for that. But now, you know, with a lack of encouragement aura and that kind of stuff over here, my infantry is going to be terror routed. It's going to allow my Plague Priest to be picked off. But the balance of power is holding strong. I do have a lot of, obviously, balance of power strength held up in these 3 single entities. If I can keep them together and make use of the Things Catcher by Throt, then, you know, potentially I can go down these Flame Spires pretty quickly. But Throt is, as I mentioned, weak to fire as a regenerating unit. So these Flame Spire Phoenixes do pose a bit of a threat to him. And with the buffering from the Dragon Princes here, and just the general annoyance from the Tyranic Chariots, it's not going to be easy. But this Flame Spire Phoenix, unfortunately, gets its healing proc, 2.5k HP right there. Really annoying. He was out for the count, but did get rebirthed. But I do have Creature Killer on here, so everything here is immune to psychology and does have a significant anti-large bonus. Probably not going to matter too much on the Clan Rats, but just an absolute pit fight here. But what the Morscatar's Hellion is going to do here is, with every hit from his, and we see how much the remolded ability has brought him back into the fight. He's regained just over 1,000 hit points. Every strike from his blades does cause a little area of effect, so good for clearing out this infantry. It's actually going to help me pretty massively in this pit fight here. And some regrouped infantry. You know, the speed of the Rat Ogres, being able to close down these archers is nice, and I may be able to even get a pickup on these archers here, so not insignificant, because the archers will be reasonably good at just being annoying, picking off little bits of hit point. You know, 45 armor on Throt's not massive. Gorich has 70, and the Morscatar's Hellion only has 30, so nothing is exceptionally armored in my force. So they aren't shattered, but we have managed to just quell that threat for now. But looking at the battlefield now, the balance of power, I think, is actually slightly in my favour. And even though I'm outnumbered and there are some threatening units on the field, you know, this Flamespire Phoenix is half health. This one's getting an Earthblood, but just below half health. My units are reasonably healthy, and if I can keep them together, there may be a chance for me to, once Master Moulder is off, Things Catcher is off cooldown, I may be able to snipe out some of the large threats with the anti-large bonus that it provides. So going to put it on a fast play here, just as we come in to meet once again. Terror outs and natural breaks going down, but this is really good by my opponent. He's really been patient with this, and a massive amount of healing coming down here on both the Dragon Princes and the Tyranic Chariots. That's a really big buff. But Creature Killer going down, as I said, nice anti-large bonus. The Warp Frenzy and the Whirlwind effect on Gorich has taken effect. And like I said before, with Morscatar's Hellion, every hit is going to cause a little area of effect, which is not going to be insignificant in this fight. Dragon Princes do have some physical resistance, and the magical damage that does is going to bypass that. But unfortunately, I am going to lose Gorich here, which is a bit of a hit for me. The balance of power is holding for now, and if I can keep Throt the Unclean with his regen, he's still got a fair bit of regen to go before he hits his healing cap. But good play by my opponent here with Alariel. Alariel is actually probably going to snipe Gorich here, not allowing him to come back to the fight, taking the hit on the balance of power as well once he does eventually die. So 2 large single entities left. My saving grace here is that there's no dedicated anti-large, but the Dragon Princes are going to be a thorn in my side with just generally good combat stats and their durability, but they are terrified now. So some respite for me here. If I can maybe pick off a few chariot models, still 3 models there. The ranges aren't going to be a massive factor here, and good target priority by my opponent with the Flamespire Phoenix targeting Throt, who is weak to fire, as we've stated a couple of times. So nice attack animation there, a big leap from Morscatar's Hellion. and another one there getting into the rear. So he's got some really nice attack animations, which can carry him out of combat, potentially maybe get him in trouble as well. But the Alpha Strike here from the Flamespire, disastrous for me, has routed Throt. And with the Dragon Princes left on the battlefield, it's unlikely that he's going to come back. He's probably going to be escorted off here. Doesn't want to detach too much stuff off because wants to make sure Morskatar's Hellion can be taken out here effectively. But 107 speed on Throt the Unclean's Brood Horror, with the Scurry Away mechanic obviously in play. Only 78 speed with the Dragon Princes. So Throt's actually going to rally here, and Morskatar's Hellion has pretty decent combat stats. Is going to bypass Alariel's physical resistance, but again, my opponent here really patient with the Star of Avalon. He's going to pop them both and get great value. Again, Alariel, Tyranic Chariots, and the Flamespire Phoenix. The Flamespire Phoenix is at its healing cap, but Throt has come back and he's popped. I see this, and that's a bit of a, I was desperate just to get Creature Killer down because I thought, if he routes again, at least I've used it. We do manage to terrify these Dragon Princes off, and Throt's going to absolutely beeline it back here. Hopefully Morskatar's Hellion can hang on, and we see just a desperate pit fight. But as much as anything, the archers here, just with their the morale effect from being fired in at, is going to be significant, and Alariel and the chariots may be able to rout him off before Throt can get back. But some serious weapon damage on the claw attacks here. Like I said before, it's going to bypass Alariel's physical resistance because they are magical attacks with his big Warpstone claw, but we get routed, and with the chariots and Alariel both being fast enough to chase here, that's probably going to be the last we see of Morskatar's Hellion. But Throt not to be outdone, is going to charge back in, and I see the archers here. I figure, well, I'm never going to catch these guys. They're gonna take him. I might as well at the very least get these archers off, and then the rest of the fight can come to me. Unfortunately, I have popped both the charges of Remolded. A Remolded here, if I'd have been as patient as my opponent, another 1,000 hit points here could take him to his healing cap, and even just the balance of power that effect that would have would probably be pretty massive. So we'll put it on a little fast play just for a second. We'll see if Throt can tank this out. He's facing an uphill battle. Alariel might even have enough for a fast protection or something like that. 2,000 hit points here. The Tyranic Chariots do rout. Alariel's no slouch in combat, but she's not a world beater. So 2,000 hit points here versus 1,300. I was actually feeling not too bad here. I've got, from memory, I've got about 25 seconds before another, maybe, or just around 25 seconds before another Things Catcher comes off. But with every hit, I'm just getting lower and lower leadership. I'm slowly starting to tank. If I can get a few good attack animations here and possibly get Alariel off, but it's not to be. Throt is overcome by the incarnate of life herself. Well, that's an End Times reference, but Alariel does take the day. But talk about a down to the wire battle. That was a really good one. I love the picks of the Flamespire. They got great value. I love this new mechanic as well with the damage dealt and damage value. It really allows you to evaluate sort of the effectiveness of what you've taken. But yeah, the Flamespires, as I said, are good in this matchup. A lot of the high value threats, Throt, the Hell Pit, given that they are regenerators, have weakness to fire, and we saw that the game could have gone very differently if that one Phoenix hadn't have rebirthed. So good inclusions there. The chariots were really annoying, and you don't see Tyranic Chariots a lot. Usually if you're going to invest in chariots, you see Lion Chariots, and they can be actually quite effective at dueling single entities and dueling monsters, particularly with Alariel's Star of Avalon. As to be expected, the Rangers absolutely carved through my infantry, but I really like the Things Catcher. The anti-large that it can impart on Rat Ogres can really be a force multiplier. Rat Ogres do have a reasonable damage output, but they don't have a dedicated anti-large bonus. They've got some decent armor piercing, but the anti-large bonus makes them really pack a wallop. And I've got another game which I might cast in the next day or two that also highlights the byplay between that and another one of my favorite units, an existing unit on the Clan Moulder roster. But yeah, this was one of my first forays into Throt the Unclean, and I have to say I like him. Gorich is fun. Morskatar's Hellion is an absolute beast, particularly with its area of effect sort of splash thing. It's good for infantry clearing and that kind of thing, and has great combat stats and great damage ability to deal with other heroes and monsters. So yeah, I think Throt's going to see some play. I think he's got some pretty handy synergy with a lot of the classically Clan Moulder units, which CA have done well to stay faithful to the lore material there. So yeah, thanks for checking out the replay. We'll be back with more from the new DLC over the next coming weeks. But until then, take care.